silk and pickin' when I really get to clickin', but I'm looking for a sister to revive and when I kiss her.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2026 Hyundai Tucson, courtesy of Jack GM Volvo Hyundai in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so today we're in this one because, for one, it's still hot off of a refresh just last year. You still get America's best warranty, being 5 years, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper, 10 years, 100,000 miles on the powertrain. You gotta love that. And in case you were curious, this one is competing with a very popular segment, including other vehicles like the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and the Kia Sportage, just to name a few. But ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2026 Tucson. You got the SE starting at $29,200, which is a $595 bump from the 2025 model year. SEL for $30,550, SEL Premium for $33,550, and yes, that was formerly the SEL Convenience. They renamed it this year. XRT for $33,225, and lastly, the Limited, being the one we are in today, going for $39,175. And so that was all pricing for the front wheel drive configuration. If you wanted to add all wheel drive, you can do that. Simply add $1,500 then to any of those prices. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Tucson is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2.5 liter direct injected inline 4-cylinder, putting out 187 horsepower at 6,100 RPM, 178 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 4,000 RPM. That power being sent to the front wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters I see we got here, so we'll be testing those out here in a little bit. And by the way, the paddle shifters are only for the limited trim level, but 0 to 60 time approximately 8.8 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 25 in the city, 33 on the highway for the front wheel drive, 24 city, 30 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, taking regular unleaded fuel. But so that before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the Tucson, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. And so there is a button called drive mode, go figure, that adjusts the drive modes. Again, shocker, but drive modes will include normal, sport, snow, and my drive, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the steering sensitivity. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, and let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are going to react for us here. Is it holding? Oh, it's holding, sweet. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, it's, dang it. Okay, I mean, it did automatically change back to just regular, the car shifts for you because I didn't shift quick enough. So I don't like that. It's not a full manual shift mode. That would be cool if it did, like it just switched back again. So it's not a full manual shift mode, meaning the paddle shifters are more or less pointless, although they do feel high quality. I do like the feel of them. They almost feel aluminum, although I know they're probably just plastic with like a silver coating on them, but they feel really nice. But having said that, they will shift for you. So I really don't get the point of even using them, quite honestly. But anyways, having got that out of the way, let's go ahead and find one more straightaway. Let's put the acceleration here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get our new Hyundai Tucson here up to speed. All right, found our straightaway here in sport driving mode. 3, 2, 1, go! Not the quickest thing in the world, but it gets the job done. You shouldn't have any issues emerging onto the highway, but yeah, it's not the quickest. But a lot of the competitors aren't the quickest either, so it is what it is. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 12.8-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.8-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at 124 feet, which is pretty much par for the course there, right in the middle of the pack. As far as braking feel goes, it's okay. It's a little bit on the softer side of things. Definitely not a firm braking feel, but I didn't expect a firm braking feel for this vehicle, so it's all good there. But then touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get a McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, gas pressurized shock absorbers as well. As far as ride quality goes, now that's been pretty darn good, and Hyundai typically does a pretty darn good job with the ride quality. So overall, my short little test drive here today, we just went over a pothole. Here comes another one. It's fine. It's not the very smoothest ride, but it's not the worst either. it's pretty darn good for what this vehicle is. So again, no issues there. Now, as far as steering feel goes, that will adjust dependent upon the drive mode that you put it in. So I got it in normal driving mode. It actually feels decent. It has a nice weight to it, even in that normal driving mode. Nothing super heavy or anything crazy, but it feels good. Of course, the sport driving mode is going to give you an even weightier feel. And then if you take it out of that, it's going to loosen up a little bit. So it's kind of something for everybody. So that's always nice. As far as cabin noise goes, we are going 30 miles per hour right now. I'll be quiet here for a sec. Really, it's just the engine noise for me. Like, that's all I'm really getting, which is a good thing. I like the engine noise, but very nice, serene cabin in this thing, actually, and that's due in part because every single trim level will give you an acoustic laminated front windshield, and on top of that, if you were to go with the limited trim level only, you also get acoustic laminated front door glass, which a lot of times is even an option on vehicles like Mercedes-Benz and BMW, so that's pretty cool as well. That's going to give you a super serene cabin like we have in this one here today since we have the limited, so I do like that. Touching that on rear visibility, looking out my rear view mirror here, I can see 100% perfectly fine out of the rear view mirror, so definitely not going to have any issues with that. The other thing is rain sensing windshield wipers for the limited trim level at least. So whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn those on for you. And on top of that, also touching on forward visibility here, I'm looking at a head-up display right now. It's projecting my speed limit, and safety features up onto my windshield. It is super bright, even with these James Aura sunglasses on. By the way, if you are interested, I'll put a little clicky thing on the screen right now and also in the description box that supports the channel. But the other thing is, also with forward visibility, so if I turn my turn signal on, I got a blind spot view monitor here on my gauges, which is something that Hyundai and Genesis do that nobody else is doing right now. And I think that's so stinking cool because it really does give you the perfect view of what is beside you there, so you don't go turning into anyone. So I always thought that was pretty cool too. But anyways, that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2026 Hyundai Tucson. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 Hyundai Tucson, finished in Atlantis blue, in case you were curious of our exact exterior color name that we have with us here on this one. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Tucson is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 5, indicating that the Tucson is built and assembled here in the US. So interesting. But anyways, let's go ahead and start up front. Get that large angel wing front grille, as Hyundai has become known for on a lot of their vehicles, like the Santa Cruz as well, I know off the top of my head. You also get incorporated daytime running lights into that front grille. I think that looks pretty cool. To the sides, kind of bottom corners there is where the actual headlights are. They are LED headlights for all trim levels across the board. You get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams as well. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses the vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams, and when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. The other cool thing to the corners there, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there are front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination for a little better aerodynamics there as well, so that's pretty cool too. But the only thing I don't know that I like on the front of this one is, maybe it's just for our particular spec, but there's like a black Hyundai logo, and everything else is kind of like a chromish, like a dark chrome. And then you got this matte black Hyundai logo. It does not go. It just doesn't. It doesn't match. So I don't know if you want to do like a dark chrome logo or just a chrome logo, but the matte black does not match absolutely anything. But that's my take. But that pretty much rounds out the front end of the Tucson. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. And so now since we are around to the side of the Tucson, starting up top there, upper silver window trim does come standard. Rear privacy glass also coming standard. To get body colored power adjustable side mirrors. Side mirrors are going to be heated with LED integrated turn signals then as well. Kind of had that Z crease found on the side of the vehicle, just like the Elantra does too. So it's kind of something that the Tucson has come to be known for at this point. And then taking a look down at the wheel setup, it of course is going to differ amongst the trim levels. 17-inch alloys for the SE, 18-inch alloys for the SEL, SEL Premium, and XRT, and then 19-inch alloys for our Limited that we have with us here today. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. I think the only thing I would change for our Limited trim on the side is have those matte black side skirts and fender surrounds become body colored. think that would look amazing. But now let's go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Tucson, starting all the way to the top, gloss black shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. If you're wondering where the rear window wiper is, I'm gonna get up a little bit closer so I can actually show that to you guys. It is tucked away up underneath of that rear spoiler, in case you were curious. So it doesn't impede rear visibility. I'm imagining that's why they did it. But you also have the Hyundai logo kind of incorporated into the rear glass. That's an interesting little touch there. LED taillights for the SEL premium trim level and up. They look pretty stinking good. And then there is a single exhaust outlet. It is tucked away underneath of the Tucson here. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. And some analysis, we are around to the back of the Tucson. When it comes to opening up that rear lift gate, it is going to be a manual lift gate for the SE trim level only. For the SEL trim level and up, it's going to be a hands-free power lift gate. So there is a button on the key fob. There is a rubberized button at the bottom of that lift gate then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 38.7 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, of course, the rear seats do fold down. There actually was levers in the cargo area to fold those rear seats down, so that was pretty darn convenient. And that's going to bump that up to 74.8 cubic feet then. There's some grocery bag hooks in the cargo area. You got tie-down anchors. There's a cargo cover, 12-volt power outlet as well. I love seeing that. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will actually find a spare tire, which I always love to see. So big fan of that. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that actually comes in at a luxury-like 41.3 inches. That's a good bit there. For reference, I'm at even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the second row there. Get seatbelt holders back there. There's a rear center armrest with cup holders as well. Heated rear seats for the limited trim level. You got to appreciate that. Rear ventilation and then rear USB charging ports then as well. So definitely rear seats done very nicely. But then making our way up to the front seats, cloth seating for the SE and SEL trims, leatherette seating for the SEL Premium and XRT, and then full leather seating for the limited, 8-way power driver's seat for the SEL trim level and up, heated front seats for the SEL trim level and up. You're going to get ventilated front seats then for the limited, as well as memory settings, and that is for up to 2 different drivers here found on the driver's side door. But overall, as far as seat comfort goes, I will say it's a night and day difference compared to the Sonata. I just got done driving. These seats are so comfortable compared to the Sonata, especially the headrest. These things are very squishy on the headrest, so it makes for kind of like a pillow-like kind of headrest, which I'm a huge fan of. So Hyundai did the seats pretty darn good here in the Tucson. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel here. Steering wheel is tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped for the limited trim level, and then also heated for that limited trim level as well. And it's a very interesting shape. I don't mind it. It's definitely different, but yeah, steering wheel worked out for me. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got all of your buttons incorporated into the letter H on the one side of the key there. Lock, unlock. That whole button, that is a remote start. And then on the side of the key, you have the button to pop the rear tailgate there, and also SMAP pack, which is just for the limited. So that means if somebody else gets too close to you in a parking lot, you can simply pull the vehicle out by pressing the lock button and the remote start, and then pressing the side button there. And then your kids and yourself can get in the car without actually banging the car next to you. So super convenient there. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that silver engine start button located kind of to the left of those center air vents there. And so once started up, you got an analog gauge cluster for the SE, SEL, and XRT, and then a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster for the SEL Premium and Limited trim levels. And there's a little bit of customization to be had with that gauge cluster. There's a simple look, a modern look, and both of those look pretty darn similar. And then there's a classic look, which is what I personally prefer, and that's what I would leave it on. But that gives you a speedometer on your left, tachometers on your right, and the center part you can control using the steering wheel mounted controls, so you can really customize that. But on top of that, there's different styles as well you can pick between. Style A and Style B look pretty similar, and then Style C looks kind of like a more sportier look, but I think I like Style B. I think I'm gonna go with that one. But overall, I do like the gauges. I didn't realize that they were this customizable before when I looked at them. So I really don't mind them. They did a pretty darn good job. Of course, it gives you things like outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty and stuff like that. So that was pretty nice. Anyways, now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. A panoramic sunroof is going to come on our limited trim that we have with us here today. SEL Premium is going to give you a power sunroof though. Auto dimming rear view mirror for the SEL Premium trim level and up. Homelink controls for the limited trim level. That's for up to 3 different garage doors found in the bottom portion of that rear view mirror there. LED interior lighting actually comes standard for all trim levels across the board. That's pretty stinking cool. Dual zone climate control for the SEL trim level and up, so both driver and passenger can set their own temperatures. And then wireless phone charger also for the SEL trim level and up. And that's going to be right in the center here, just next to the cup holders. Just below that though, you have a little bit of more storage down there, so that's pretty cool. And then within the center armrest, it's actually a very deep amount of storage within that center armrest, so I like that as well. You also have this cool little tray found just above the passenger side glove box, so a little bit of space. They could probably put their cell phone up there. Got this nice cloth finish kind of going just below that. So overall, I think the interior quality was done pretty decently. So a lot of nice texturized finishes that I didn't expect, and I certainly wouldn't have any issues with it. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the infotainment screen here. What you guys are looking at is a 12.3-inch color touchscreen display. Get Bluetooth and audio streaming with that, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as well. Factory navigation system can be had with the SEL Premium trim level and up. Voice memo system up there as well. You can check out your weather and sports information along with your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, there's essentially 2 of them. You get 6 speakers for all trim levels but the limited. That limited trim that we have with us here today is going to give you an 8-speaker Bose sound system. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing tonight, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Hyundai's Bose sound systems are definitely always pretty darn good, so I don't have any issues with that. Bose has been around forever. They're definitely a very reputable company. There was plenty of bass with that, plenty of clarity, so that's a plenty fine sound system for what the Tucson is for sure. But last thing I want to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Tucson in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. And I'm also looking at a panoramic view monitor there to the right as well, which is pretty stinking cool. But that as always is going to lead us into safety. And so starting with the best part, the Tucson is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, so it does not get any better than that, of course. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. In the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. Forward collision warning with pedestrian detection, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, driver attention monitoring system, rear occupant alert, and adaptive cruise control with stop and go, which is an absolutely wonderful system really with any Hyundai. So they always do a pretty darn good job with that. Overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Tucson, great safety. You can't beat an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. And that's typically always the first thing I try to look for in SUVs. Because more than likely, a lot of people are going to have kids in the back, and what you want to look for obviously is that the vehicle is super ridiculously safe. So it doesn't get any better than an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. Tech is also very nice. I love all the customization that can be had with the gauges. They look absolutely amazing. Love the 12.3-inch infotainment screen as well. Love the head-up display. I love that there's ambient lighting, although it's not very bright. Hyundai, brighten up the ambient lighting a little bit for me, please. You also get America's Best warranty, so you can't beat that, obviously. As far as room for improvement goes, like I said, I wish the ambient lighting was a little bit brighter. I cannot see absolutely anything like that it even exists right now, and I got the brightness turned all the way up, so I don't know what's going on with that. And the other thing is, I think rear window sunshades would be pretty darn cool, at least on our limited trim level here at the Tucson, because a lot of times with kids, you go to a fast food restaurant, you park in the parking lot to eat it, and the sun's in one of their eyes, so if you have rear window sunshades, that's definitely going to help out there. But let me know what you guys think of the Tucson, and if you would get one in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff at the bottom of the screen if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe with the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what I've been doing here for 11 years now. I do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.